Hi, I'm Robert Proctor with MultiSoft Corporation, and I'm fortunate to be here today with Brian Brown from Avalara, who is the #1 sales tax calculation company, in my opinion, in the world. So, Brian, I want to thank you for
pleasure
giving me some
for that
time.
shout out.
So, I want to ask you a couple of questions on our industry, but related to sales tax. So, when we talk to new companies, it seems like they don't realize or really understand, because most of them are selling online, why it is that they have to collect sales tax. We try to tell them, but the best thing we can do is introduce them to you, our premier partner. But what would you tell a client that we bring to you why they do have to collect sales tax online?
Yeah, it's a confusing topic because over the years the laws have changed, right? And actually really the industry as a whole has changed, right? Because you went from a brick and mortar business where you're just selling to your neighbors, right? Somebody walks in, you charge them the sales tax on whatever the local tax is there, right? And you could do that on your own, right? Now e-commerce, right? It's all about globalization. It's all about how do I ship products to anywhere, anyone, any day, right? And so what we're talking to people about is that footprint. When somebody says, hey, I'm selling out of Utah, or I'm selling out of Florida, and I'm selling to somebody in Wisconsin, or I'm selling to somebody in Seattle, that becomes really complicated, right? And so you can't just say, hey, I live in Florida and so my sales tax is 3%. Or, hey, I live in one of the nomad states, they call them, that don't charge any sales tax, so I don't have to charge sales tax. Well, you have to charge wherever you're shipping to. And so that gets really complicated with e-commerce businesses, especially in high growth businesses like in network marketing, right? Where they're starting out and they're saying, hey, I'm going to be building a business that's going to go from 0 to whatever they want, 100,000 the first month or 100 million, whatever they're thinking, right? That product, wherever it's being shipped to and wherever that end order is being delivered to, you got to calculate the sales tax. So that's how we try to help them educate
there's
them.
the answer to it. Just and you said brick and mortar stores charge sales tax. Everybody, because they think it's an internet-based business, oh, I don't need to charge sales tax. They need to be charging sales tax.
Absolutely.
All right. One other question, because we've actually been talking about this lately. Most of the clients that we work with are launching in the United States, but their goal is to go international. You know, let's face it, we've got 340 million people in the United States. There's a big world with 6 billion people.
Sure.
And we've been talking about this lately. What happens when a client in America wants to go and start shipping into, let's say, Asia or Europe? What happens in that aspect, and how are you guys addressing that?
Yeah, there's kind of two avenues that complicate it for that scenario, right? You have the cross-border, we call it. So the idea of if you're a business who's based in the United States, you want to get your product into the Philippines, let's say, or you want to get your product into Japan, you're going to have custom duties and import fees, right? And those can be calculated in a couple of different ways. You may just decide to let that be calculated when it gets to their door, right? So I'm buying a product in Japan, it gets to my door, the shipper, the freight says, you owe another, whatever it is, 50 currency, right? Whatever the currency is. And they're like, well, I already paid Robert for it. Well, they didn't calculate.
They didn't pay me, they paid the company.
They paid the company, let's be clear. But they didn't pay the custom duties and imports, right? And so that's one way to think about it. Now, what a lot of e-commerce businesses are transitioning to is say, let's get that cost to them sooner. Let's calculate that on the fly so that we're not shipping product to them and then realizing, oh wait, I gotta figure out what the cost is. And then you also run into some challenges with the custom office sometimes when you do that as well, is they don't want to let the product in because they don't want to send it to the door and never collect on it. So you again, it's just that same idea of everyone wants their piece of the pie, right? When you look at these government entities, they have these laws in place to be able to collect a piece of the revenue of wherever this product's being delivered. And it's hard to be able to, as a small business owner, or even as a large business, it doesn't really matter because the scale as a small business owner, it's too much. As a large enterprise, it's also too much, right? Because it's so varied across different states and boundaries. And so as a small business owner, what you really want to think about is how do I partner with somebody who can tell me what those fees are, and that way I'm getting my product to them and they already know what it costs.
So what I'm hearing here is the landscape of sales tax is so huge that clients trying to rely on their own these days is not going to work. They need a company like Avalara that is on a global scale that's going to help them navigate these waters for taxes, not just in the United States, but on a global scale, cross-border.
You're hearing right.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, we've talked a little bit about what MultiSoft is doing right now, especially with as we look at the landscape of e-commerce businesses changing from, well, and let's just zero in on network marketing, right? Where the landscape there is even shifting from kind of that traditional wholesale model, I sell it out of my garage, to now being able to sell and to refer business everywhere. And I know you guys have some tools that best help people to do that.
Yeah, so the biggest change that we've seen, if here we are 2022, if we go back 10 years ago, our industry was more about the opportunity. It was more about the bling bling and let me show you how to make a huge amount of money. And it was join the business opportunity. And by the way, there's a product that we sell.
Yeah.
And it was really, if you look back 10 years ago, the websites were all about the Rolexes and the Gucci's, the boats and the
yachts.
big houses.
Yeah.
And now, because of, and I look at this because of companies like Amazon and Shopify, the auction places, eBay, it's pivoted to where now there's a retail consumer. So we've had to pivot our software to accommodate that retail consumer. So what we've done is with MultiSoft and our Market Power Pro software, our clients can launch with 2 different websites. One website is only about their product. So somebody goes to brian.abc.com, all they're seeing is the product. I've shared a product with you, and here's the reason why we did this. 90% of your friends or family that you refer to another company because you joined it to buy the product and the business opportunity. If it says opportunity, make money, join the team, it doesn't matter how much I promoted that product to you, they see make money and opportunity, they're going to leave. They're not even going to stick around. You've got about 5 seconds.
Yeah, they feel like it's not for them.
It's not for, well, they see make money and they're, it's one of these pyramid schemes. So what we've done is now they can have 2 different websites. One is about the product and they're only there to join the product. So you come to the company, you come to robert.abc.com, you join for the product, and all of a sudden after a few months you've told some friends. I see that you've told some friends because we have a loyalty rewards program. Maybe we can talk about that in the second part. We have a loyalty rewards program where I can refer my customers. I can make some money on referring customers. You as a person who brought me into the company sees, oh, Robert's referred some customers. Maybe he'd be a good potential for the opportunity. Yeah. So now I'm going to reach out, you're going to reach out to me and say, by the way, Robert, I see you've been buying the products, you've been telling your friends about it, they've bought it, you've made some loyalty rewards. Can I talk to you about a business opportunity? Are you open to a business opportunity?
Sure.
So we've had to pivot in the last, not just even 10 years, but the last 4 or 5 years just to accommodate the new market space that we're all going into.
Yeah. Now let's pivot again here and talk a little bit more about the customer loyalty. Right? Why is that important these days?
Okay, so everybody's heard of Starbucks.
Sure.
People have been buying at Starbucks for years. Everybody has a Starbucks card.
Yeah.
You go to Starbucks, you buy a coffee, you get some stars.
Sure.
And when you get so many stars, I think it's 140 stars these days, you get a free cup of coffee.
Okay.
We've all been flying on American Airlines and Delta Airlines for 20, 30, 40 years, whatever it be. And when you fly on these airlines, you get loyalty rewards, you get points, and you can then use those points to upgrade maybe from standard class to business, business to first class. You can even get so many points you can actually pay for a ticket to go somewhere. Well, the same thing has to be done in the MLM e-commerce space. This has become the standard, not the exception. You've got the Amazons, you've got the Starbucks, you've got the Targets, the airlines. So what we've done in the last few years, again, as I told you, customer-centric software in the network marketing industry, is we've introduced a loyalty rewards program where you're a customer of mine, you can be buying product on a monthly auto ship basis, and maybe you're getting some loyalty rewards for that. You're getting some points that you can use to buy your products and services. Or you can introduce your friend Tony. Tony buys some products, Tony gets some loyalty rewards, you get some loyalty rewards. So now we've taken traditional sales channels in big box environments and brought them into our MLM software system in order to pivot to where the industry is going, which is more on the product and the service and less on the opportunity.
Okay.
So, Brian, I want to thank you for giving me some time today.
Well, pleasure to be with you.
Thank you guys very much.